Good evening, everyone. It is July 7th, 2014, and we're going to start tonight with our Carnegie Library Board meeting. The chairman of that board is Brett Nation, and he's going to take over the meeting now.
I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Streller.
Here.
Dow.
Here.
Moxley.
Here.
Marshall. Norman.
Here.
Nation.
Here.
Wade. Warner. Here. Johnson.
Here.
I declare quorum, and we'll have our opening prayer this morning from Reverend Martin Foster.
Let's be in the spirit of prayer. Oh Lord, quiet our spirit. Give us your peace. Give us wisdom in everything that we do tonight. May we have hearts to understand. May we have knowledge to make wise decisions. Lord, we thank you and praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you,
Thank
Mark.
you, Pastor Martin. Our first item is the consent agenda.
Motion approved. Second.
So motion and second. Roll call.
Streller.
Yes.
Dow.
Yes.
Moxley.
Yes.
Norman.
Yes.
Nation.
Yes.
Warner. Yes. Johnson.
Yes.
All right, we'll move to item number 4. Comments from anyone that is assembled here today that's not on the board. All right, we'll see none. The next item will be a presentation of our quarterly report from Mrs. Librarian, Ms. Payne.
Fresh back from vacation.
Fresh back.
Hello. So summer reading program at the library is sort of like Christmas in retail. We are moving. During the last quarter, we added 1,173 books, audiobooks, and movies. This does not include magazines. We are fairly overflowing with new items. Come in and see the selection and check out a book or two. June is traditionally the busiest month of the year with the children spiking the circulation. I haven't done the numbers yet because of my vacation, but I believe June has been the busiest month since I've been here. We held a successful Scholastic book fair and sold over $500 worth of items. The money we earned from the sale will be used to buy books and items like bulletin board supplies for the children's department. I moved into my new office the end of June. Yes. I am sitting in the back of the storage room with 2 huge windows looking at the courthouse. Electrical outlets and air conditioning, vents, and office furniture were included in the project. I now have some quiet to work. As a result, the upstairs employees have a new area away from the workroom door and possible distractions. Many more items were deselected from the library. This brings us closer to more face-out shelving and shifting collections for efficiency. The Roberta Letchworth Memorial Reading Fund is up to $3,300. Roberta Letchworth was a longtime Perry resident and benefactor, and her son James Letchworth set up a reading fund to be used to promote literacy. Looking forward, the Friends of the Library Crazy Days book sale is going to be July 15th and 16th at the Armory. Come see us Tuesday and Wednesday from 9:30 to 5. I am anticipating working on my first annual report for the state. State aid is contingent upon the annual report. I'm going to a training later this week to learn how to use the new online system to submit the report. And we will be getting a new website in the fall with much assistance from the state.
All right. Well, thank you, Pam. Is there any questions for her? All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Pam.
We'll move on to item number 6, is the discussion of possible action on the Carnegie Library policy and procedures. Those are, actually, this is an item that we tabled last time, and you guys have had 3 months to check it out. So,
Included in your packet is the proposed in red are the proposed changes, and it is just to kind of generally let you know what those changes are. This has actually been available at the library for people to review and make comments on. I don't believe, I Pam, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that you've received any comments based on the copy that was made available to patrons, so. So I think, but it was, you know, since the last meeting in April, this has been out and available for comment, so. Like I say, in red are the changes being proposed. I would, Pam and I had a conversation today on a couple of things, and we're adding notary services as a service to the library, and we had initially included a $5 charge for that. And we decided that we're going to provide that as a service. The library will provide that as a service at no charge to our patrons who need notary services. City Hall does not charge for notarizing documents, and so felt like to be everything needs to be on the same page, that we would, and if we address it at City Hall, we would probably apply that to the library and other city facilities as well. So we are going to start offering notary services when there is a notary available, because not everybody is a notary. Some of our part-timers are not notaries, but when there's a notary available at the library, we'll provide that service at no charge. On the research assistance, we are, let's see, let me go a little bit further here. Also, I would note that, and we've already actually made this change, so hopefully you all approve it, but Mondays.
That always goes over well.
I know. Mondays seem to be a busy day in the library, and so we've added an hour to the hours of operation on Monday. So they open at 9 and close at 7. And so to keep our schedule, our work schedule still at 40 hours, and Friday happens to be a slower day at the library, and so we close an hour early. So we're open at 9, close at 5. So we're still open the same amount of hours. We've not decreased the hours of operation. And actually, state aid is, they're kind of strict about the number of hours that you have to be open to the public to be eligible for state aid. So we're certainly not going to jeopardize our state aid by reducing our hours. So we're open the same number of hours, and we try to accommodate our patrons on the busy times and the slower times. So, let's see.
Mentioned something about the research assistant.
Yeah, we sometimes, some patrons are needier than others when they come to the library, and so we try to do our best to serve the patrons and provide them the level of service that we can. But there are times when there's other patrons that might need our help. So we're kind of, as a guideline, trying to set a guideline on the amount of time that you spend with a customer before you just kind of politely say, well, is there anything else I can help you with? I need to tend to something else, back in the office. And so 15 to 20 minutes is kind of just a general guideline. If there are no other patrons in the library and that person needs more assistance, then our library employees will probably continue to help that person. If there's quite a few other people in the library that are needing help, it may be 10 minutes. I mean, we just kind of have to gauge that by the number of people in the library and the amount of assistance that people need. So it's not a hard and fast. It's not just, we're not going to set the stopwatch and in 15 minutes the bell goes off and we say, oh, time's up. So, we'll try, and like I say, we're there to serve. And we'll do our best to spend the amount of time that's needed to help the individual. So,
okay.
And we did, we made a proposal on the underage policy, and we were actually reducing the age that was needing supervision. So we haven't. It's still the same proposal. I think it's towards the end of the.
You made it from
at the
11.
end, yeah.
To 11 from 12 age.
Right. We went from 12 to 11 as far as, so it was, we kind of ratcheted down each level of supervision 1 year, basically. So we're, Pam and her staff talked about this, what they felt comfortable with in terms of the staffing level. Also, they remind me that they do have two, they have a basement and the main floor, and so there is a little more, that you have to kind of take into consideration. There is an elevator, so that, kind of based on the staff and their conversations with each other, this is what they felt comfortable with. I mean, we're open for discussion on this. When we first talked about this, Pam had checked some other libraries to see kind of what their policies were, and we felt like this was a good policy for Perry. We can always revisit this, if we change it, we don't, if we feel like it needs to be looked at again, we can always look at it again, so.
I know that we've been operating since we've had our last meeting. I'm just curious, Pam, what have you been using as your guideline now? Like in the past, did you go ahead and enforce the old one or the new one here lately?
We've been enforcing the old one with a few, like if a mother will call me and say, I'm not able to bring my child to a program, my child's 11 and he wants to ride his bicycle, we just say yes. So there have been exceptions, but as a general rule, we have been enforcing the old one.
The 12, okay,
The 12.
so this will be reducing it back down to 11. Yeah, because I'm curious, there was one situation where someone brought it up and that they would qualify under the new one. If we adopt this tonight, then their kid would be allowed in there now, but they were told that they weren't able to before, so
Right.
that was just, so good.
Yes.
Otherwise, open for questions or discussion at this point.
What would you guys like to do with this?
I say we pass it.
I'll make a motion to approve the changes.
Make a motion.
Second over
Had been motion, Tim with a second. Vote please.
Stroller,
Yes.
Dow.
Yes.
Moxley,
Yes.
Norman,
Yes.
Nation.
Yes.
Warner. Yes. Johnson.
Yes.
All right, moves us on to item number 7, any new business? Okay,
Motion adjourned. Second.
vote please.
Stroller,
Yes.
Dow.
Yes.
Moxley.
Yes.
Norman. Nation.
Yes.
Warner. Yes. Johnson.
Yes. It is now 6:28 p.m., July 7, 2014. We'll hold our regular meeting of the Perry Municipal Authority. Roll call, please.
Stroller,
Here.
Dow.
Here.
Moxley.
Here.
Marshall. Norman. Nation.
Here.
Wade. Warner. Here. Johnson.
Here. Declaring quorum. Consider a consent agenda, item number 1. The only item on there is receive and approve the minutes of the Prairie PMA meeting of June 16th.
Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Stroller,
Yes.
Dow.
Yes.
Moxley.
Yes.
Norman.
Yes.
Nation.
Yes.
Warner. Yes. Johnson.
Yes.
I know. I just saw that.
I saw it earlier.
I'm sorry. Are there any comments from those assembled concerning the PMA this evening? Any comments? Item 5, proclamations, commendations, reports, inquiries by the governing body. Anyone on council have any comments they need to bring up? Seeing none. Item 6, new business. Do there's any new business to bring before the PMA today? None. Item 7.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Stroller,
Yes.
Dow.
Yes.
Moxley.
Yes.
Norman.
Yes.
Nation.
Yes.
Warner. Yes. Johnson.
Yes. Now 6:29, on July 7, 2014, call to order the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Perry. Roll call, please.
Stroller,
Here.
Dow.
Here.
Moxley.
Here.
Marshall. Norman. Nation.
Here.
Wade. Warner. Here. Johnson.
Here, declaring quorum. Item 1, the consent agenda. Councilman, are there any items of the consent agenda you wish to separate and consider separate?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Second. Roll call, please.
Stroller,
Yes.
Dow.
Yes.
Moxley.
Yes.
Norman.
Yes.
Nation.
Yes.
Warner.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Item 4, comments from those assembled. Ladies and gentlemen, this will be your time to make your public comments concerning anything on the agenda tonight. If anyone would like to be recognized and stand and make comment, please stand and say your name and come to the podium.
Can I speak?
Yes, ma'am.
Laura Kendis, which some of you know. I want to graciously thank Gordon, Lynn Norman, Betty Warner for talking to me. I called every council member. I got answering machines, and I left a very gracious message to you and to the rest of you. Bill Streller, you answering machine was full. I almost came to your house.
Well, you're welcome to do so if you need to.
I know where you live. I've been in Perry for years, and I don't want to throw rocks. All I want to say, think of us too. I know that you're saying that old lady, but I'm middle-aged. That she'll be gone, she won't care, but there's people that do care. How many of you knew Hector Tovar?
I do.
He fought his rear off for Perry. It's his complex. Are you gonna do away with it? Is it just gonna be nothing? Joe Ripley Park looks great. I go up there. The only problem there, the stands are great, but middle-aged people need a bar going up the middle that we can hold on to, where we're not afraid to go. And thank you. Everybody says I cause trouble. That's great. But think, use your head, think. It's not today, it's years to come. Think, will it be taken care of like these others weren't? Think, Mary's been gracious to me. The girl that does the yards is gracious. She needs help. Like I said, I don't want to throw rocks, but think, definitely think, not of just the young people, the generation before you that made this possible. It's our money, our time. The oil boom will not last forever. You say it will. I've been through one after another, and we done well, very well, but you better tighten your belt, because it stops. And you've seen people get all money, spend it, then it's gone. So thank you for your courtesy. I don't know that girl back there. But thank you. I visited with the lawyer.
This is the one that's gonna help us find the money.
But thank you all. And use your conscience. And if it's your conscience, I'll go with it. and I'll quit fighting. But use your heads. Think of people yesterday as well.
Thank you very, very much. We appreciate you. Anyone else like to comment? Please take this time.
Would it bite my tongue or what? Go for it? Okay.
Say your name,
I'm
please.
just, same thing. I think we need to downsize it just a little, not build quite the complex, because times are getting leaner. I'm on the ambulance board for the last 12 months. The average on the ambulance board is $55,000 a month coming in off sales tax. In the last 2 months, we've dropped $9,000 to $11,000 off sales tax. So we're all going to take a little bit of a bite on everything. So we really need to be watching what we can do. I have talked to several other contractors too, and that is, we can still survive fixing that to where we can use it with several help. But I really think all the people I have talked to all would like to vote on it too. It's just, you're the representatives. If you feel the people want it, it wouldn't cost nothing. If you have a special election, it's only $4,000. If you pick it back on somebody else, it's only $500 for the ballots. That's all I got to say.
Thank you very much. Comment?
Nancy Courtney, and the only thing I have nothing against the sports complex, but I feel like we were cheated. The people, the citizens of Perry were cheated because we do not have a choice in voting for something with this big a project. And we have baseball fields in Perry that have not been taken care of. Right now, they need work. Our softball field, our softball complex needs a new parking lot desperately. There's holes out there, and I think we need to take care of what we have before we think about something else. And I just give us a fair chance. Let us help decide on these things, not just take all of our freedoms away. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Everybody's welcome to talk. Please, if you have comments that you want to make, take this time to do it. You're being heartfeltly considered by all. Seeing none, we're going to leave the comment section at 4. This is your time to speak. And I just want to say thank you very, very much for coming. I really greatly appreciate it. Item 5, proclamations, commendations, reports, and inquiries by the governing body.
I'd like to make a comment. I'd like to thank the city for helping with the red carpet when they were here. I think it turned out very nice. There was one thing that came out of the red carpet meeting. Our funding, matter of fact, all the funding on the state level has been reduced 5%. Everything's been cut. And I think this is going to be a trend in the future, and I think that's something we need to think about also. So I don't think we're going to have the money that we used to have. And this is something that we need to think about on the ballparks too. I don't think we're going to have the tourism and the backing that we could have had. So that's all I want to say.
Anyone else? Any comments? Thank you, Betty. City manager's comment.
I have a niece who's in hospital administration, so the first thing I do is want to extend a hearty congratulations to the hospital for completing the accreditation process from DNV GL Healthcare. It's a really monumental accomplishment. And it's a major milestone, and it does set the stage then for achieving compliance with ISO 9001. And it is kind of the standard that they look to in the healthcare industry. And for our hospital to accomplish this accreditation and then move on, I think they have to be accredited 3 years, and then they can go for the ISO 9001. So a big congratulations to Dean Turner and all of his staff, and the Board of Trustees as well. Item number 2, for the last couple of years at the urging of Doug Gottschalk, who's the Noble County Game Ranger, We've been pursuing the possibility of a trout stocking program at CCC Lake. And we've been talking with the Oklahoma Wildlife Department, and I'm here to report that our efforts have paid off. This fall, the trout season is November through March, and the Wildlife Department, at no expense to the city, will stock trout at CCC Lake. And so we'll have a trout season at the lake, and there's certain rules that will be in effect specifically for trout season, but I'll have a little more detail. But this is a program for the Department of Wildlife. They will actually administer the program, stock the trout. They do it periodically. They'll do an initial stocking, and then every month they'll bring more, and then it'll tail off at the end, towards the end of the season, because trout do not survive the hot weather. So we want to fish them all out before they die. So that's really exciting, because there are not very many trout lakes that are where trout stocked, and so fishermen, they're kind of crazy people, and so they like to. No, we're not. Well, I'm including myself in that. So anyway, they'll seek out these lakes where they have the trout stock. So we look forward to more visitors to the Perry community in our area as a result of this program. And and now we're going to have to share our little treasure with other people. So we'll have to be we'll be gracious hosts to those that come from other areas. So. And one final item, last week the Oklahoma Municipal Power Authority and Perry Public Power hosted an open house out at the substation, electric substation on South 86, and OMPA provided a great tour, and we hosted it. We invited our major utility customers to come and take a look at the improvements that have been made to both increase reliability so that we have fewer outages, and also to, if we do have an outage, to reduce the duration of the outage. And there were quite a few safety things that were addressed as well. I mean, there was a list of about, I don't know, a dozen or so of the improvements on the list that OMPA went over. And so, we appreciate OMPA's investment into the substation. It is owned by OMPA, with a portion of it owned by OG&E, and they coordinate with OG&E in regard to that coordination with the substation. But we do appreciate OMPA's investment in our community, and OMPA, being a member of OMPA, it's very value added. They're, as a provider of electricity to the city of Perry and the other 38 communities in Oklahoma, they do a lot more than just provide electricity. They work well with our electric superintendent, Brian Wheatley. They're in communication all the time. We've improved our communications and our technical equipment at the substation, and so it's and we continue to look forward to additional improvements that are made. And at some point, it's being discussed, and it's been on the drawing board for probably a while now, as far as there are 2 transformers at the existing substation, and so there has been some discussion about moving one of those transformers out to the western edge of Perry, where we're seeing our growth, so that we can accommodate growth on that end and this end, both on the east and the west. And so that's kind of something that's on the drawing board as we add load to the western edge of our community. Then we'll be discussing that with OMPA. That's my report.
Thank you. I might add to that, I'm with an engineering background and going through this plant and this process and this site, that's Greek to me, because I do highways, roads, bridges, and streets, and water and sewer, and to go through an electrical facility here and have it explained in a way that common English, and I could understand what they're doing and actually understand the improvements they made, and to see how valuable it is to us to have the capacity we have. And it was quite informative, and I'm really grateful for them putting on this program and us being able to participate. Anytime you get a chance to attend one of these meetings, and ones of us who did were greatly impressed, and we have I think a better understanding of what it takes to power Perry, and the efforts that our electric department and OMPA make to make that possible. It's really cool. I enjoyed it a lot. We're going to item 7 now. Receive the recommendation from the Perry Planning Commission regarding the application filed by the Planning Design Group on behalf of the City of Perry for the construction of the Perry Ballpark project to be located at Perry Commercial Park at the southeast corner of the intersection of Fur and I-35, Perry, Oklahoma. The site plan has been on display at the City Hall for the last few weeks, and we have the representative of the Perry Planning Commission here to discuss it with us, what they viewed, what they've considered, and we have our the planning group, planning design group here to explain anything about those plans that any of you may have questions. We will take any discussion about the plans, and if you have any questions or you have any concerns, council is time to talk about those. Would you like to present Planning Commission, Mr. Franklin?
The Perry Planning Commission met this evening in a special session, and we would like to pass on a recommendation and for approval of the site plan as it is presented. We discussed some items, one of which is security and lighting, some tree changes that have been made since the last time, and all of the changes that have been made are recommended for approval.
Any other questions from the council? Our engineer is here. He's got plans. If you have any questions concerning them. We do receive that recommendation from the Planning Commission. Do you need to speak?
No, sir, I was just waiting to see if you had any questions. I couldn't see you through the podium.
I hate that podium. I had one question brought up. I think Bill may have been one that asked me about this, made a comment that I recall, and that is the parking facility having access from Fur. Was that you, Bill?
I was concerned that the way that the entrance into the parking lot now comes off the county road.
Yes,
versus
sir.
come off of pavement.
Actually, in our base bid design, the portion from the highway down to the first entry, we are proposing to have that paved. So that's part of the base bid asphalt, is to asphalt to that first entry. So it will be a full paved to one of the entries.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Item 8. Consider holding a city-wide vote to determine.
We're going to approve the site plan.
I thought
Yeah.
okay.
We need it.
Last phase.
Yeah.
I took care of 2 of them. I need the third.
I make a motion to approve the site plan.
We have a motion.
Second.
Have a second. Vote.
Stroller,
Yes.
Dow,
Yes.
Oxley.
Yes.
Norman. No. Nation.
Yes.
Warner.
No.
Johnson.
Yes. Item 8. Now we'll go to it. Item 8, consider holding a citywide vote to determine if the citizens of Perry are in favor of proposed $1.25 million ballpark location and $43,000 maintenance budget, and halt further spending on this project until a vote is held. Council is brought to us by Betty Warner, Councilman Warner, Councilman Lynn, and myself. Any discussion?
I'd just like to put it up for a motion to vote on.
We have a motion.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Roll call, please.
Stroller,
No.
Dow,
No.
Moxley,
No.
Norman,
Yes.
Nation,
No.
Warner,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Item 9.
3-3.
Hmm?
And it's 3-3?
No, it's 4.
4 to 3.
Okay.
Sorry. Authorizing advertisement for bidding of the Perry Baseball Field project and set a date for reception of those, or receipt of those bids. The planning design group is present, and we have an estimate for cost. We have the project matters relating to it, so we can secure bids for constructing ballpark. What action do you wish to take, council? This would be to advertise plans and specifications that are on file at the city clerk's office.
I move to approve this.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Stroller,
Yes.
Dow,
Yes.
Moxley,
Yes.
Norman,
No.
Nation,
Yes.
Warner,
No.
Johnson.
Yes. Item 10, consider approval of an ordinance number 2014-09, amending Chapter 2, Section 2-203 of the Perry Municipal Code of 2012 by the amendment of Section 2-203 entitled Open Meetings, formalizing the current city policy and practice that requires 3 council members to place any item on business on a regular meeting, providing for the repealer, providing for saving, severability, codification, and declaring an emergency. We had a common practice that is described when we want to hold a special meeting, that 3 council persons can come request a special meeting and it will be done, or the mayor can call one, or the city manager can request one. This describes that too for a regular meeting, which was not included in that description at the time, but was a common practice that we held. Bill had to come up with 3 when he asked for a item to be placed on the agenda a few years ago. Councilman Brett has done the same thing. And so we want to make that official, that any council person who wants to bring an item before the agenda, placed on the agenda for a regular meeting, has to be with 3 councilmen total to bring that to the agenda.
I don't think it should be that way. I think if we're elected to be a spokesman for the people, then any one of you could put something up. Or we can vote it down like we just did. But it should be where we could put it on there. I can see if somebody like Karen wants to put something up, she has to get 3 council people to sign it. But for a council member to come up here and want to put something on the thing, I mean, what are we here for?
So, if I'm a citizen,
You are.
Citizen Karen, and I come to you and say, I want to put something on the council, then you're a council member, you can automatically put it on.
No, I would not
And
automatically
so,
put it on.
but
It's
that-
just like everybody else. You've got to get 3 people to do it.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is that if a citizen comes to you and says, I want to put an agenda item on, as a council member, I have a choice where I can say it's my thing, or well, you better go get 3 other people to do that. So to me, it's defeating what you're saying.
If you
the citizen
agree
can,
with it, if you
then-
agree with it and you think it's a good thing, then maybe you should put it on.
I don't know how we can do this with this not being in the charter.
I've just always went under the rule since I've been on council. This is the very first time that I have ever experienced where this has not been the rule. This was on our former, this was, if I'm understanding right, correct, Mr. Bryce, this was on our previous form of government.
Well, under the alternative form of government, the rule is that if you want to call a special meeting, it requires the mayor or any 3 council members. Under the aldermanic form of government, there was no city manager. Jim, you were the chairman of the charter committee. We actually took that, the committee took that rule that was in the, you didn't have to, that was in the aldermanic form of government, and thought, well, that's probably a good thing. Let's make sure that if you're going to call a special meeting, certainly the mayor should be able to do that. But you know, to call a special meeting, you need to have more than one. You know, and 3.
And I have no
is what
problem
you
with
said.
that one.
Yeah.
I have no problem with
Yeah.
that.
Now what the charter says is that it's the manager's agenda. It doesn't even say, and quite frankly, when I looked at this, thinking about your predecessor, Mayor, you know, I was thinking, I for certain thought that there was something in there that the mayor, you know, could put something on the agenda. But all that it says, and the way I did it, I put the word agenda in, did a fine search, and you know what pops up. And what it says is it's the city manager's agenda. So back when it was an aldermanic form of government and up through now, the unwritten rule, because it's unwritten, it's not written anywhere, is that in order to get something on the city council agenda, it takes, we kind of use the same special meeting rule for regular meetings. Now, the only reason, and of course, you know, it's your rules, so you can make your rules what you want your rules to be. In lots of government, you have you know, you have more than one person offering something. You see bills that are offered by multiple people. If they're offered in both the Senate and the House, you get, you know, 2 people. You try to get folks to join in something in order to advance it. If you don't, you know, what you could have is you could have a councilman ask that, you know, each meeting to put on an agenda to fire the city manager. Now, actually, in my example, I was going to use to fire the city attorney because that was a lot funnier. You know, but for purposes of, you know, this, you know, and you would visit that, you know, every agenda, you know.
But that
and that
person
would be
probably
on
would
the,
not be elected next time either. I mean, if
or maybe they would be elected overwhelmingly. You know, I mean, it could be.
I'm just saying, what does it hurt? You know, it
Well,
doesn't hurt anything to vote it down.
And it's your meeting. You know, it's your meeting, it's your procedure. The thought was, and the reason we put this on the agenda, it became an issue this time, and we felt it's time to, you know, it's time to get this issue in front of the board and to make a rule. You know, now we don't have we don't have everybody here. And in order to pass anything, it's something that I gave Mary today, you have to have 5 votes, you know, and I mean, you can't do it with the majority of the quorum. So, and particularly for an ordinance or resolution, you have to have 5 votes. So, I mean, if you want to get a larger group, you know, everyone here, and continue this and continue talking about it, or you can decide to do it now. But I just decided, it came up again, it's not in writing, let's decide this issue.
Can you, because we brought up a couple words, ordinances, charter, because we know with any type of charter change, that has to go to vote, correct?
Sure, yeah, and I'm not
So what's the difference between an ordinance, a new ordinance, versus a charter change?
Well, you're right. A charter change requires a vote of the people, but the truth is, it's your government. You guys can can make ordinances on how you choose to run your government. You know, and you know, the charter says that it's the manager's agenda. Okay? But it is silent on the issue of who gets to put it on. I guess if you would ask me, you know, I would say, well, it's silent. So it's up to whatever rule you want. I guess the flip side of that, I could say it's the manager's agenda and nobody could put anything on. But that would be kind of silly, you know? I mean, I would think that would be a silly, because if you ask me, could we pass an ordinance to allow us to put items on the agenda? My answer would have to be, of course, because you're a government. But it needs to be some kind of procedure that everyone can agree on.
Well, right now, the only thing the city council has power over is our city manager and the budget.
And the city attorney.
Not true.
Well, the city attorney.
The judge,
You
the
work
auditor,
for- you work
the
for judge
auditor, and the
and
CFO.
And the
Judge
auditor.
and finance chick.
We have Brad Pitt.
I have a question. In the last 2 months, I've put 2 items on the agenda, and nothing has been said. And now it comes up about a vote on the ballpark, and all of a sudden, so who put this item on the
No,
agenda?
the reason you had no problems because I agreed with you.
That's
as
still
mayor.
2.
That's mayor. The mayor
But-
can do it.
Well, and I think that's what the recent discussion pointed out, that maybe we haven't been consistent. And so by having something in writing where it required 2 or 3 or however many, you know, would at least put it in writing so that I, as the city manager, would have direction, you know. And I agree, you know, I didn't have any problem with the items that you requested either, so.
So who put this on this agenda?
Well, it was requested by Betty. You signed off.
Not the vote,
This question, item 10,
yes.
Mary did.
Yeah.
I think this needs to go to the OML before it comes back here. I don't know if this is legal.
Well, you've already got in your you already have in your ordinance what it requires to call a special meeting.
I
If
think
you
this
think
will
that's-
open the door for something
Yeah.
worse later on.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean, we
it's
can
my
look-
opinion, it's my opinion that it's absolutely legal. I mean, you can adopt rules of procedure that you choose to be governed by.
I would
And-
like
and
to
you-
get that
you-
in writing, Bryce.
I would be happy to put that in writing. And if you want to continue the meeting, or continue the item, I'd be happy to put that. You have other rules of procedure in your ordinance.
I'm just
One
saying,
is that you
why
follow
would
Robert's
we,
Rules
as a
of Order.
council, want to limit our power? Because I don't see that we have a whole lot of power the way it is. Not really.
I have no opinion on.
I know you
on-
don't.
on- on-
I'm not
on
asking
what
you,
you
I'm
want
just
the rule
saying-
to be.
I think we'd be crazy to do
Well,
that.
and Betty and I had a couple of fairly lengthy conversations, and so, you know, my hesitancy of putting this on the agenda was, I had had 7 council members that directed me as the city manager to go forward with this project. They didn't say, we want to discuss voting on it. They said, we're ready to go forward with this project. And so I had direction from 7 council members.
But what
And
did it
for
hurt
me
to put it
to-
on the agenda? Didn't hurt anything.
If I can finish.
Okay.
So for me to go against 7 people, it kind of puts me in jeopardy a little bit. Because they might be unhappy with me because I put something on there and I've kind of put them on the spot, so to speak. You know, to have something on the agenda that they feel like they've already voted on. And so that was my hesitancy, and we had that conversation, on the phone. And I, tried to explain, my position on this as far as, taking something that I felt had already been decided back to the council, and that was my hesitancy.
If I can speak for just a minute, there was, back a year or 2 ago, there was a situation that I was required to get 3 people to sign off on it in order to get it on the agenda. Now then, in the more recent past, I've asked for things to be put on the agenda, and it just got put on the agenda. Same thing Lynn's talking about, okay? But I think where we fall into a situation is, we have 9 council members, including the mayor. We could all come to Mary and say, we want something put on the agenda. And so now we got 9 or 10 different things on the agenda, and it may range from east to west, north to south. I mean,
But isn't that what we're elected for, is to be the voice of somebody?
I agree 100%.
Okay.
But if it's such a good idea, why would you not ask 2 or 3 other people to support you?
Maybe it's not a good idea to them.
Well, there's 9 of us. So you don't think out of 9 people, or we'll say 8, if it's just you don't think out of 8 you can get 2 more people to agree with you. If you have an item you want to put on the agenda and you can't get 2 more people out of the entire council to agree with you, it's going to get voted down anyway.
Not necessarily. I've brought up things before that were big things, and because, well, I won't go into it, but I could not get 3 people to back me. And you know why? They didn't want to stand up here and vote no.
I still see this as a Pandora's box. If we do it here, we can do it to anything else on the charter when something is not written instead of what is written.
Well, I'm kind of confused about charter. This isn't a charter change, is it?
No, in fact, I didn't even have to put this provision in the, what we do is we have the charter provision, okay, that deals with special meetings. 3 required to call special meeting. And of course, a special meeting, to call a special meeting, it would be on a topic.
Correct.
So if you want to put a topic on an agenda and it's not a regular meeting, it takes 3 council members. That's what the charter says, okay? What it doesn't say is anything about a regular meeting, okay? So what we're just suggesting is if that's good for a special meeting, then make that rule for a regular meeting. That's what we've been following, okay? I mean, that's what we've been doing
But a special meeting
until very
costs us
recently.
money. It costs us money to put on an extra meeting. And I think that's why we need three people to vote on
Well,
it.
It doesn't cost the city money.
Well, no, but
Well,
somebody,
we have to pay-
somebody could argue. Somebody could argue, and I'll support you on this. Somebody could argue the reason that was put in the charter is that a special meeting is another meeting, and so the
Yeah.
framers were concerned about having extra meetings, I don't know, Jim, if you remember and what the legislative history is. I do know that this was in our old form of government. Everybody liked it, and that's why it got carried through. And then it got carried through as an unwritten rule, and that's why.
Mr. Moxley likes.
Well, my big deal is honestly, to me, it does, if the number's 3 or what it is, the big thing to me is if every one of us, no matter what, could get something added to an agenda. We're not here to try to stir up negativity and frustrations, and that's having more people agree allows us to come in here and hold a sensible meeting and not be at each other's throats. And because we're not doing the citizens of Perry any good by coming in here and just going against, just being against one another. So having talk ahead of time and having it where more people sign off and and have support, chances are more people are going to be in support of things. If not, it's not doing any of us any good to Bill, next meeting, you have 3 things on the agenda, Clayton, and we sit in here and it turns into a gripe session. That's what it does. And we're not adding any value to our community by allowing that right there.
So just to clarify too, and I agree with Tim, but to clarify, say Bill has something and it's something that the mayor feels like can be added to the agenda.
The manager.
It has to be the manager, it's not the mayor. So
I mean,
the
at
mayor
this
would
point,
be
under
the same
this rule,
rules
it would be
as
the
mayor
manager.
would be.
Well, if you pass this, then it would be the mayor too.
So so if this passes, and Councilman Bill brings in an agenda item, or Councilman Nation brings an agenda item.
Yeah,
to
throw
him.
yourself under the bus, too,
Yeah.
okay?
And he has an agenda item, and he just brings it before the mayor. You know, the mayor can at that time say yes, or you really need to get 3 people to agree with this before I can feel comfortable putting this on the agenda.
That's
Is
correct.
that correct?
Or to the manager.
Or to the manager.
And
Well,
it forces you to sell that to them
Well,
if you've done a
and-
good job.
Mary needs some clarification. I mean, you can't do your job if you don't know what the rules are. You know, I mean, she's between a rock and a hard place. You know.
Absolutely.
Good thing
But you
you're
know,
tough.
I wasn't elected and you weren't elected,
Yeah, you were.
no, to make the rest of the council happy. I was elected to be a voice of the people. And if you don't agree with me and other people don't agree with you, what makes you right and me wrong?
But you also have to know if being a voice of the people, if it's the right thing for the community as well. You can't just bring gripes to the,
I'm not
to
bringing it
this
right.
either, is what
I am
I'm
not
saying.
bringing it
We're not
right.
doing any good by doing that.
But the thing I've found too is a lot of
Well-
even conflicting things, including the elephant in the room, the baseball park, which is probably what's driving this, is I can get up here and share with you 50 people who said, oh, please. I mean, I talked to people before the meeting tonight, said, please proceed. And I've also gotten the other side. And so for me to sit here and judge based on the majority, based on my phone calls that I
We're
get.
not even talking about the park right now.
Well, I'm just talking about the voice of the people and how I can moderately judge what that majority is. And
Well, I have
so
not gotten one bad call from anybody.
I bet not.
No.
I'm not surprised. And so I feel like that this is something that will protect a lot of the people even that are on staff with us.
What do we want to do with this thing, council? Do we want to hold it over for a full council vote? Or do we
I
vote
agree
on-
100% with you. Let's
I
table
think
this
so too.
until we get a full council. I'll make the motion, we table this till next meeting.
I'll second that.
Vote.
Of course, Tim won't be at the next meeting.
You can give me your vote.
Yeah, but I think
You said
I think I made
you
clear
can
what
vote
I
now.
think.
I think you have.
We could do proxy vote.
no, you can't have.
I can vote right
You
now.
can have
opposed.
proxies.
Get out of here.
You ready?
Roll call, please.
Stroller,
Yes.
Dow,
You always vote no.
Moxley, Norman,
Yes.
Nation,
Yes.
Warner,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Thank you, council. Item 11, new business. Anyone have new business to bring before the council this evening? Item 12, executive session. We are postponing that until because we do not have signed documents. So I don't want to approve anything till we have signed documents. We've been down that road before. That takes us to item 14 also. Bryce said he'd have the signed documents for the next meeting. Item 15,
Motion adjourned.
roll call.
Stroller,
Yes.
Dow,
Yes.
Moxley, Norman, Nation,
Yes.
Warner,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Down at 11.